Hey everybody, Billy from Billy's Bike Adventures. Thanks for tuning in today and watching the video. Now in recent months I've been fielding a lot of questions on my channel regarding this helmet. This is the Carbon Explorer helmet from LS2. Now I've had this for almost a year now and I've been wearing it exclusively on all of my trips in the last kind of 12 months. So as you might imagine, the questions relate to how has this helmet performed during those 12 months and would I still choose this helmet today? If you're interested to hear what I think about it, keep watching and let's get into it. Now if you haven't done so already, don't forget to click the red subscribe button and then all to make sure that you don't miss out on any updates. The question that I get asked most about helmets that I wear is what is the noise level like inside the helmet? And my answer to everybody, regardless of which helmet I'm wearing, is always the same. It's great. And that is because I wear ear defenders. And so with these in, I get the same performance regardless of what helmet I'm wearing. So I can't tell you what this is like without wearing ear defenders because I just don't do it. And so I'm very conscious of the fact that I do a lot of riding and I'm going to be doing that over many, many years. And I want my hearing to stay as good as possible. So if you're not wearing ear defenders, then you should. So one is the safety and the impact that it has on your hearing. The second one, which is just as important, I think, because you're asking questions about the noise level inside the helmet, is that it opens up the availability of more helmets to you. So if you're worried about the noise in a specific helmet, make sure that you're wearing ear defenders and it takes that away for you and your pool of helmets that you can choose from suddenly opens up. So with the noise level addressed, let's talk about a number of things regarding this helmet. So importantly for me, what's the comfort like on this helmet? So when I got this about a year ago, the foam inserts, the protective foam inserts, really tight. It was very, very tight on my head, felt really secure and really, really snug. That hasn't really changed much. The padding inside has softened up and loosened a little bit, but not to the point where the helmet is twisting on my head or anything like that. It still feels snug and secure on my head, albeit the padding inserts has softened a little bit. It just makes it even more comfortable, if I'm honest. So the padding inside has lasted well. I've worn it in all types of conditions all year round. And it's still a good snug fit on my head. So I'm very happy with the performance of the padding inside this LS2 Carbon Explorer helmet. So another question I get asked quite a lot about is the internal sun visor, and is it good? Has the mechanism started to fail a year on? And I have to say, no, it's not. So you've got a slider here just on the helmet. That's the slider. So you just pull that back and forth and it operates the sun visor, the internal sun visor. So for me, the jury is out for me at the moment about what impact to the level of safety that the inbuilt sun visor has on the helmet. I don't know if it takes away from the safety. I don't know that, so I need to do some more research. So that is one question that I would like to be answered for me. That said, I've worn this helmet extensively in all kinds of really, really dusty conditions, really, really wet conditions, and beautiful sunny, cold, hot and day riding conditions. The only time that this visor gets a little bit sticky in terms of the operation of it is in riding it in dust. So two specific occasions really. The worst one was riding at ABR last year, going around the track that they've got at ABR. It was a super dry week and it was a super dry couple of days and the track was really, really dusty, and I must have gone around 20 or 30 times on my bike wearing this helmet, and a lot of dust got into this. I was quite warm, so I had the visor up, and so as you can imagine, a lot of dust got inside the helmet. Now after that particular trip, the mechanism did get a little bit sticky, not the actual slider itself, but the visor inside the mechanism of the helmet. So it did get a little bit sticky. Now I've not done anything, apart from cleaning the internal sun visor, I've not done anything to improve the performance of the slider. And as you can see, a year on, it is still operating really, really smoothly. And that's after the stickiness from the dust at the ABR festival last year. So I'm really happy actually with the performance of the internal sun visor and the mechanism. Yes, it has got sticky on a couple of occasions, but it's sorted itself out, not a problem at all. And there's no scratches on the internal sun visor for me at the moment, regardless of the dust that got into the mechanisms. And so for me, really, really happy with the internal sun visor. It's nice and dark, so great on the sunny days, especially when I had this in Iceland, had that low sun, so the peak on the helmet didn't do any good for us because it was quite low sun, and so the internal sun visor was absolutely superb. Weight of the helmet as well, I have to say it feels quite light, even though on the back it says 1,500 grams, give or take 50 grams, whether you get, depending on the size of the shell of the helmet that you order. But it feels quite light on the head, if I'm honest, compared to others that I've had. So I'm very happy with how this feels on my head at the end of the day. Having done Iceland in September last year, riding all day for 6 days solid, wearing this helmet, I did not get a sore neck once during that trip. And so the use of this on an all-day trip and a multi-day trip was excellent from my perspective. So overall, I'm really happy with the performance of this helmet in terms of comfort, the internal sun visor, the peak of the helmet, the weight of the helmet, wearing it on an all-day, multi-day trip like I did in September last year when I went to Iceland. Wore this all day, every day for 6 days solid, quite aggressive off-road riding, and I absolutely loved it. The helmet absolutely, it performed so well for me. I was really, really happy with it. There's two main areas that LS2 can work on as far as this helmet is concerned. One relates to all helmets, the other relates to this one specifically. So let me talk about the one that relates to all helmets first of all. So on our second full day of riding in Iceland in September last year, it rained quite heavily all day. And the visor and the venting on this helmet was not sufficient enough in that type of riding, in that weather condition, to not have this visor missed up. I do have a pin lock insert on this helmet. It's a clear pin lock, and even with the pin lock in, it was disastrous. Richie Vida had his RI Tour X4 on. He had a pin lock in it as well. Exactly the same thing. We could not ride with our visors down without it getting steamy and misty. And so I think that's the same with all helmets really. I don't know of, or I've not heard of, anybody that praises their helmets and their ability to vent and not mist up in rainy weather. So for me, that's one area for all manufacturers to be able to work on, is producing a visor, however you do it, that does not mist up in wet weather. And it was really hard. The rain in Iceland, given it was quite cold as well, coming into the face and in the eyes and hitting the eyeballs, it was quite hard work. It was a long day. It was a great day riding, but it was a long day riding with the visor up. And so that is one thing that not only LS2 I think need to work on, but all helmet manufacturers with their visors. We have not solved the ability to ride in wet weather all day and not have a visor misting up. So I know pin locks are supposed to help with that. It just didn't, unfortunately. Unless you can get an absolutely perfect seal all the way around, it's just not going to work. And I've not used a pin lock pin lock insert that's actually done the job for me, regardless of what helmet I have worn. So that's one thing. Number two, in its comms units with this helmet. Now, I initially, when I first got this helmet, I thought that I had found a really good positioning inside for the speakers with comms units. What this doesn't have in this helmet, it doesn't have specific cutout recesses for your speakers to go into. So unlike the RI Tour X4, the two of them that I've had previously that do have specific recesses cut out, inside this helmet it just has quite a big cutout area, and it's really then for you to move those speakers around a little bit to make sure that you try and get the perfect positioning. The problem with not having specific cutout recesses is that the padding inside this helmet for where your speakers are going to go, there's quite a gap around the speakers wherever you place them. And so because of that, when you're sliding your helmet on over you, the speakers kind of catch your ears and you end up like that, and it really hurts as well. So that's the downside to this helmet. Wearing a comms unit with this helmet, I just have not been able to do it. Hence why I'm actually not going to be taking this helmet to the Pyrenees. I'm riding with a mate of mine this year in May to the French and Spanish Pyrenees, 9 days. We are going to be wearing comms unit. I will not be wearing this helmet because of that. So whilst it accommodates a comms unit on the side, the placement of the speakers inside the area is so big that for you to place the speakers, and without the padding surrounding the speaker, it makes it uncomfortable when sliding the helmet on, uncomfortable when you're wearing it, and the placement of the speakers is really hard to find a good place. So that's the downside to this. If I was going to suggest anything to LS2 regarding the ability to put speakers in for comms units on these helmets, is to make sure that you've got a specific cutout recess and that the padding goes all the way around the edging of that recess. When you put the speaker in, there's no open gaps around those speakers, and that the helmet slides on without catching your ears, and then it's not painful. So that would be the other thing that I would recommend to LS2. Other helmets do it. Our Tour X4, for an example. This one does not do it. So there's a development opportunity for the LS2 helmet. Now, given that I do most of my riding solo, I haven't bothered with a comms unit on this helmet too often, and for that reason, it's never bothered me. So, you know, for me, this helmet has been absolutely brilliant. It's been really comfortable. All of the padding inside, it has softened up slightly, but it's still firm on my head, still very comfortable. I have had a few people get in touch saying, oh, there's a couple of videos online relating to LS2 helmets. But for me, there's been no issues with this helmet in terms of comfort, safety, the ability to ride all day. As I said, the two main things, the visor misting up and the speaker placement within the helmet, get those two things sorted out, and this is a really great helmet. It is anyway for me, and I will be continuing to wear this particular helmet. I really do like it. So if you do have any questions relating to the LS2 Carbon Explorer, do let me know. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Do message me on my email address, billiesbikeadventures@gmail.com, or leave a message underneath this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you again very soon.